These 300-year-old money laws still decide who gets rich. Imagine this. The year is 1720. No internet, no social media, no cryptocurrency, no Tesla stocks, no Amazon, no Apple. Yet at that exact moment, financial laws are being created that today, right now in 2025, determine whether you become rich or stay poor. And the most shocking part? 99% of people have no idea these ancient rules completely control their financial destiny. You could be working 60 hours a week. You could have 2 jobs. You could be hustling harder than anyone you know. But if you don't understand these 7 laws, you're fighting an uphill battle that you cannot win. In this video, I'm revealing the hidden money laws that the elite have been using for centuries to build generational wealth, while the average person continues to struggle paycheck to paycheck. And yes, these principles still work perfectly in 2025. Stay tuned, because what I'm going to tell you at the end about the 7th law, it doesn't just change your perspective, it changes your entire financial future. But first, let me tell you a story that will blow your mind. In 1744, a man named Mayer Amschel Rothschild was born in Frankfurt, Germany. His family wasn't wealthy. They lived in the Jewish ghetto, packed into cramped quarters with dozens of other families. By all accounts, he should have remained poor his entire life. But Mayer learned something, a secret. A set of principles about money that most people would never discover. Within 1 generation, the Rothschild family became one of the wealthiest families in Europe. Within 2 generations, they were funding governments and kings. Today, their wealth spans centuries and continents. What did they know that others didn't? Here's the thing, it wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. And it certainly wasn't because they worked harder than everyone else. They understood laws. Financial laws that were being written in the shadows of 17th and 18th century Europe. Laws that governed how money truly flows, how wealth actually accumulates, and how the rich stay rich while the poor stay poor. And here's what makes me angry. These laws still work today. They haven't changed. The technology has changed. The economy has evolved. The world is completely different. But the fundamental laws of wealth? Exactly. The same. Why doesn't anyone teach this in school? Why don't your parents know this? Why isn't this common knowledge? Because the system is designed to keep you ignorant. The moment you understand these principles, you stop being a consumer and start being a creator of wealth. And that threatens the status quo. So let me break that cycle right now. Let me show you the 7 laws that have controlled wealth for 300 years. The law of compound interest. The first law is perhaps the most powerful of all, compound interest. Albert Einstein allegedly called it the 8th wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." But here's what they don't tell you. In the 1700s, compound interest was a closely guarded secret. Only bankers, wealthy merchants, and the financial elite truly understood its power. Let me break this down in a way that will change how you see money forever. Imagine 2 brothers in 1720. Both are 25 years old. Both are merchants. Brother A decides to invest 1,000 guilders at 5% interest per year. But here's the key. He reinvests all his interest every single year. He doesn't touch it. He doesn't spend it. He just lets it compound. Brother B thinks that's foolish. He keeps his 1,000 guilders in a chest under his bed. "At least I know it's safe," he says. Fast forward 10 years. Brother A now has 1,629 guilders. Brother B still has 1,000. Not that impressive, you might think. Just 629 guilders difference. But wait, let's go further. After 25 years, Brother A has 3,386 guilders. Brother B still has 1,000. After 50 years, Brother A has 11,467 guilders. From just 1,000 guilders, that's more than 11 times his original investment. Brother B still has 1,000 guilders. But due to inflation, it's now worth maybe 400 guilders in real purchasing power. Brother A became wealthy while sleeping. Brother B became poorer while working. This is the cruel mathematics of compound interest. It rewards patience and punishes ignorance. Now let me bring this to 2025 with real numbers that will shock you. If you invest $10,000 today at an average return of 10% per year, which is roughly what the S&P 500 has returned historically, and you never add another dollar, here's what happens. After 10 years, $25,937. After 20 years, $67,275. After 30 years, $1,494. After 40 years, $152,593 from just $10,000, never adding another penny. But here's where it gets insane. What if you invest $500 per month for 30 years at that same 10% return? you'd have over $1 million. You'd contribute $180,000 of your own money, but compound interest would give you over $800,000 for free. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people on earth, built 99% of his wealth after age 50, not because he suddenly got smarter at 50, but because compound interest had decades to work its magic. The lesson here is brutally simple. The best time to start investing was 10 years ago. The second best time is today, right now. This moment. Every day you delay is a day you lose the most powerful force in finance working for you, the law of leverage. The second law that separates the wealthy from the poor. Leverage. Using other people's resources to amplify your results. Let me tell you about the Dutch East India Company, founded in 1602. This was the first publicly traded company in history, and it used leverage in a way that changed the world. Here's how it worked. A single ship voyage to the East Indies cost about 50,000 guilders. That's roughly $2 million in today's money. No single merchant could afford that. So what did they do? They created shares. They let hundreds of people invest small amounts. A baker could invest 100 guilders. A shopkeeper could invest 200 guilders. Together, they raised millions. The company used this money to buy fleets of ships, and when those ships returned loaded with spices, silk, and porcelain worth 10 times what they paid, everyone made money. But here's the genius part. The organizers, the ones who understood leverage, they made the most. They used 95% other people's money to build an empire. This is leverage, and it's the exact blueprint that every billionaire uses today. Elon Musk didn't build Tesla with his own money. He raised billions from investors. He used their capital to build electric cars. And when Tesla succeeded, sure, the investors made money. But Elon made billions because he controlled the leverage. Jeff Bezos started Amazon with $300,000 borrowed from his parents and friends. Today, Amazon is worth over $1 trillion. He used other people's money to build an empire. Every real estate mogul you've ever heard of, they use the bank's money. They put down 20%, the bank puts down 80%, and they control 100% of the property. When it appreciates, they get 100% of the gain on an asset they only paid 20% for. That's leverage. But here's the critical warning that most gurus won't tell you. Leverage is a double-edged sword. In 1720, something called the South Sea Bubble happened. Companies used leverage to speculate on trading ventures. Everyone was getting rich. People mortgaged their homes, borrowed from friends, invested everything. Then the bubble burst. People lost everything. Some lost more than everything. They ended up in debtor's prison. Leverage magnifies gains, but it also magnifies losses. So here's the rule. Only use leverage for investments that generate cash flow or have a high probability of appreciation. Never use leverage for speculation or consumption. Good leverage. Borrowing money at 4% to buy a rental property that generates 8% return. Bad leverage. Borrowing money on a credit card at 22% to buy a car that depreciates. The wealthy understand this distinction. The poor don't, and they pay the price. One more modern example to drive this home. Let's say you have $50,000 cash. You could buy one property outright for $50,000, or you could put $10,000 down on 5 properties worth $50,000 each, using the bank's leverage. If properties appreciate 5% in a year, option 1, your one property is now worth $52,500. You made $2,500. Option 2, your 5 properties are each worth $52,500. You made $12,500. Same market, same percentage gain, but 5 times the profit because of leverage. That's the power and the danger of this law. The law of time, money. Law number 3, your time is more valuable than your money. This is the law that most people get backwards, and it keeps them trapped in the rat race forever. In 1750, let me paint you a picture of 2 men. Man A is a blacksmith. He's skilled, hardworking, respected in his community. He wakes up at 5 a.m., works until 8 p.m., 6 days a week. He makes good money, better than most people in his village. But here's the problem. When he stops working, the money stops. If he gets sick, his family starves. If he gets old and can't swing a hammer, he has nothing. Man B owns the blacksmith shop. He employs 3 blacksmiths. He doesn't swing hammers himself. He spends his time finding new customers, negotiating prices, improving processes. His income keeps coming whether he shows up or not. If he gets sick, his business still runs. When he gets old, he can sell his business for a fortune. What's the difference? Man, a trade's time for money. Man B built a system that generates money independent of his time. This is the fundamental shift that creates wealth. Now let me show you this in 2025 with real examples. Example 1. The Uber driver versus the app owner. An Uber driver works 50 hours a week and makes $50,000 a year. That's 20 hours. Not bad, right? But Travis Kalanick, Uber's founder, built the system once. Now millions of drivers work and he makes money from every single ride. He's not driving. He's not even working at Uber anymore. But the system he built made him a billionaire. Example 2. The freelance writer versus the course creator. A freelance writer charges $100 for hours. To make $100,000 a year, they need to work 1,000 billable hours. A course creator spends 100 hours creating a course, sells it for $200, and sells 1,000 copies. They made $200,000 for 100 hours of work. And that course can sell forever. One person trades time for money. One person creates assets that generate money. Example 3. The doctor versus the medical practice owner. A doctor makes $300,000 a year working 60 hours a week. They have a great income, but they're still trading time for money. A medical practice owner employs 10 doctors. Each doctor generates $300,000 in revenue, and the owner keeps 20%. That's $600,000 a year, and they might work 20 hours a week managing the business. Do you see the pattern? The wealthy don't trade time for money. They build systems, assets, and businesses that generate money while they sleep. Here's what you need to ask yourself today. What am I building that will pay me multiple times for working once? It could be a YouTube channel. Make videos once, earn ad revenue forever. An online course, create once, sell infinitely. A book or ebook, write once, earn royalties for decades. A software app, build once, subscription revenue monthly. A rental property, collect rent forever. A blog with affiliate links, write once, earn commissions perpetually. The goal isn't to stop working. The goal is to make sure your work today creates value tomorrow, next year, and for the next decade. This is how you escape the prison of trading hours for dollars. The law of multiple income streams. Law 4. Never rely on a single source of income. Diversification isn't just smart, it's essential for survival. Back in the 1600s and 1700s, wealthy merchants lived by one golden rule. Never put all your cargo on one ship. Why? Because ships sank. Storms happened. Pirates attacked. If you had all your wealth on one ship and it went down, you were ruined. So smart merchants spread their investments across 10, 20, even 50 different ships going to different destinations. If one ship sank, they lost 5% of their investment. The other 95% came back safely, and they still made a profit. This principle is more important today than ever before. The average millionaire has 7 different income sources. Let me repeat that. 7, not one job, not 2, 7. Here are the 7 most common. Earned income, salary or business profits from their primary work. Investment income, dividends from stocks. Interest income, from savings, bonds, or peer-to-peer lending. Rental income, from real estate properties. Capital gains, from selling investments at a profit. Royalties, from intellectual property, books, patents, or licensing. Business income, from companies they own but don't actively manage. Meanwhile, the average person has one income stream, their job, and they pray every day that they don't lose it. What happens when layoffs come? What happens when AI replaces their role? What happens when their industry collapses? They're devastated, financially ruined, starting from zero. But someone with 7 income streams, if they lose one, they still have 6. They have resilience. They have options. They have freedom. Let me give you a real modern example. Sarah is 35 years old. She works as a marketing manager making $80,000 a year. But she also invests in index funds that pay $5,000 a year in dividends, owns a rental property that generates $12,000 a year in profit, runs a weekend photography business that brings in $8,000 a year, has a blog with affiliate links earning $3,000 a year, owns some dividend-paying stocks adding $2,000 a year. Her total income? $110,000. But more importantly, if she loses her job tomorrow, she still has $30,000 coming in from other sources while she finds new work. Compare that to her colleague Mike, who also makes $80,000 but has no other income sources. If Mike loses his job, he has 0 income. His mortgage payment doesn't care. His bills don't care. He's in crisis mode immediately. Now here's the beautiful part. You don't need to build all 7 streams at once. Start with one additional stream this year. Maybe that's investing $100 a month into an index fund. Maybe it's buying a duplex and renting out half. Maybe it's starting a small side business. Next year, add another stream. The year after, add another. In 5 years, you could have 5 income streams. In 10 years, you could have financial security that 95% of people never achieve. Here's a crucial truth. It's not about making huge money from each stream. It's about having multiple pillars supporting your financial life. A house with one pillar falls easily. A house with 7 pillars? Nearly indestructible. The Rothschilds understood this 300 years ago. They didn't just bank. They invested in mining, in railroads, in government bonds, in real estate, in art, in wine. They spread their wealth across dozens of industries and assets. When one industry crashed, they barely noticed because their other investments carried them through. This is the difference between fragile wealth and anti-fragile wealth. Make yourself anti-fragile. Build multiple income streams. The law of knowledge equals capital law. Law 5, the greatest investment you can make is in yourself. In the 1700s, if you wanted to become wealthy and you weren't born into money, you had 2 choices. Option 1, work manual labor for the rest of your life and stay poor. Option 2, develop rare, valuable skills that people would pay premium prices for. Gunsmiths, clockmakers, navigators, architects. These people earned 10 times what a common laborer made. Why? Because they had knowledge that was rare and valuable. Benjamin Franklin was born into poverty. His father was a candle maker. By all accounts, Ben should have stayed poor, but Ben invested in knowledge. He read every book he could find. He taught himself science, writing, business, and politics. He became so valuable that he retired wealthy at age 42. He said, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest." And that was 300 years ago. Today, it's even more true. Let me show you the math of knowledge in 2025. A high school graduate earns an average of $38,000 a year. A bachelor's degree holder earns an average of $64,000 a year. A master's degree holder earns an average of $77,000 a year. But here's where it gets interesting. A self-taught programmer who never went to college can earn $120,000 a year. A self-taught digital marketer with proven results can earn $100,000 plus a year. A self-taught sales professional who masters psychology can earn $200,000 plus a year in commissions. The degree isn't what matters. The knowledge matters. Here's a truth that will change your life. You are always one skill away from doubling your income. One single skill. If you're making $50,000 a year and you learn data analysis and SQL, you could jump to $80,000. Video editing and content creation, you could start a $5,000 a month side business. Copywriting and persuasion, you could 10x your sales results and double your commissions. AI and automation, you could become indispensable and command $150,000 plus. But here's what most people do. They spend $1,000 a month on Netflix, dining out, and entertainment. They spend 3 hours a day watching TV or scrolling social media. But investing $500 in an online course? That's too expensive. Spending 30 minutes a day learning a new skill? I don't have time. This is the mentality that keeps people poor. The wealthy think differently. They're obsessed with learning. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. Bill Gates reads 50 books a year. Elon Musk taught himself rocket science by reading textbooks. They understand something fundamental. Knowledge is the only asset that can't be taken from you. Your house can burn down, your stocks can crash, your business can fail. But what you know, that's yours forever. And in 2025, we live in the greatest era for learning in human history. You can learn anything from anyone, from anywhere, often for free. Want to learn programming? Free Code Camp, YouTube, Udemy. Want to learn marketing? Google has free certifications. Want to learn investing? Thousands of free courses online. The barrier isn't access to knowledge. The barrier is your willingness to invest time in yourself. Here's my challenge to you. For the next 90 days, spend just 30 minutes a day learning one new valuable skill. In 90 days, you'll have invested 45 hours. That's enough to become conversational in a new language, competent in basic coding, or proficient in graphic design. In 1 year, you could become world-class at something. In 5 years, you could be in the top 1% of people with that skill. The question isn't, can I afford to invest in knowledge? The question is, can I afford not to? Every day you're not learning, you're falling behind people who are. The law of calculated risk. Law 6, no risk, no wealth. But there's a massive difference between stupid risks and calculated risks. In 1711, something called the South Sea Company was founded in Britain. It promised incredible returns from trading with South America. Everyone invested. Nobles, merchants, even Isaac Newton invested. The stock price went from 100 to 1,000 pounds in months. People mortgaged their homes to buy more. They borrowed from friends. They were certain they'd become rich. Then reality hit. The company had almost no real business. The bubble burst. The stock crashed to 100 pounds. Fortunes were destroyed overnight. Isaac Newton lost 20,000 pounds, about $3 million in today's money. He famously said, "I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people." This was a stupid risk. Pure speculation with no fundamentals. Now contrast that with a calculated risk. In 1720, a Dutch merchant named Peter invested in a ship voyage to the East Indies. He didn't invest everything. He invested 10% of his wealth. He studied the captain's track record. He researched the cargo. He knew the risks. The voyage could fail. Ships did sink. But the potential reward, 300% return, justified the 10% risk. The ship returned successfully. Peter tripled his investment on that 10%. His overall wealth increased by 30%. He repeated this process with different ships, different captains, different routes. Over 20 years, he became one of the wealthiest men in Amsterdam. What's the difference? Calculated risk, blind speculation. Let me show you this in modern terms. Stupid risk, putting your entire savings into a single cryptocurrency because someone on Reddit said it would moon. Quitting your job without savings to follow your passion. Borrowing money to day trade stocks. Investing in things you don't understand. Calculated risk. Investing 5 to 10% of your portfolio in higher risk, higher reward assets while keeping the rest safe. Starting a side business while keeping your job, then transitioning when it's profitable. Learning a skill for 6 months, then offering freelance services on weekends. Buying rental property after studying the market and running the numbers. See the pattern? Calculated risks have limited downside, you won't lose everything. Studied upside, you understand the potential. A backup plan, you have other income assets. Knowledge foundation, you're not gambling blind. Every wealthy person I've studied has taken risks, but they weren't reckless. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple in 1985. He could have given up. Instead, he took the calculated risk of starting Next and Pixar. When Apple bought Next in 1997, Jobs returned and turned Apple into the most valuable company on earth. Was it risky? Yes. Could it have failed? Absolutely. But Jobs had skills, experience, and a vision. It wasn't blind gambling. Sarah Blakely invented Spanx with $5,000 in savings. She could have lost it all. But she spent 2 years researching, learning about patents, testing prototypes. When she launched, she became a billionaire. Jeff Bezos left a comfortable Wall Street job to start Amazon in his garage. But he wasn't being reckless. He studied the internet's growth, identified an opportunity, and had a plan. Here's the critical lesson. Growth requires risk. Staying in your comfort zone guarantees you'll never achieve more than you have now. But intelligent risk is different from stupid risk. Ask yourself these questions before any major financial decision. What's the worst that can happen, and can I survive it? What research have I done to understand this opportunity? Am I investing, risking money I can afford to lose? Do I have other sources of income, wealth, if this fails? What's my exit strategy if things go wrong? If you can answer these questions confidently, you're taking a calculated risk. If you can't, you're gambling. The wealthy take calculated risks constantly. The poor either take no risks and stay poor or take stupid risks and lose everything. Be in the middle, be smart, be bold, but be strategic. The law of patience and long-term thinking. And now the seventh and final law, the one that ties everything together, patience and long-term perspective. This is the law that separates people who get rich from people who stay rich. In the 1700s, the Rothschild family didn't think in years. They thought in generations. Mayor Amschel Rothschild had 5 sons. He sent them to 5 different countries: London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt. He told them, you're not building wealth for yourselves, you're building a dynasty for your grandchildren's grandchildren. Each son established a banking house. They worked together across borders. They thought 50 years ahead, 100 years ahead. Today, 250 years later, the Rothschild family is still one of the wealthiest families on earth. That's the power of long-term thinking. Contrast that with lottery winners. Studies show that 70% of lottery winners go broke within a few years. They get rich overnight, but they have poor person thinking. They want immediate gratification. They buy cars, houses, vacations. They don't invest. They don't build. Within years, they're poorer than before they won. This is the curse of the modern world. Everyone wants wealth now. They see Bitcoin and think, this is my shortcut. They see a get-rich-quick scheme and think, finally, the easy way. They see someone successful on Instagram and think, why not me? But here's the brutal truth nobody wants to hear. There are no shortcuts to lasting wealth. Every serious billionaire built their fortune over decades. Jeff Bezos started Amazon in 1994. He lost money for years. People called him crazy. In 2001, during the dot-com crash, Amazon stock dropped 95%. Jeff could have quit. He didn't. Today, he's worth over $150 billion. But it took 20 years of patience. Warren Buffett is worth over $100 billion. But 99% of that wealth came after his 50th birthday. Not because he suddenly got smarter at 50, but because compound interest needed decades to work. At age 30, Buffett was worth $1 million. Good, but not extraordinary. At age 40, he was worth $3 million. Still just wealthy, not ultra-rich. At age 50, he was worth $376 million. Now we're talking. At age 60, he was worth $3.6 billion. The compound effect accelerating. Today, at 90 plus, he's worth over $100 billion. That's 60 years of patient, consistent investing. Here's what this means for you. If you're 25 and you start investing $500 per month, by age 65, you could have $3 million at 10% average return. But most 25-year-olds think, I'll start investing when I'm making more money. So they wait until they're 35. Starting at 35 with the same $500 a month, they'll have $0.4 million at 65. That 10-year delay cost them $2.1 million. That's the price of impatience. Or look at real estate. A 30-year mortgage seems impossibly long when you're 30. But when you're 60 and you own an $800,000 house completely paid off, generating $3,000 a month in rental income, those 30 years seem like they flew by. The pain of patience is temporary. The regret of impatience is permanent. Here's another way to think about it. A Chinese proverb says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. What trees are you planting today that your future self will be grateful for? Maybe it's starting that retirement account, learning that valuable skill, building that side business, buying that first rental property, creating that YouTube channel, writing that book. You won't see results tomorrow. You might not see results next month. But in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you'll look back and realize that today was the day everything changed. The day you stopped chasing quick money and started building lasting wealth. So there you have it. 7 money laws that have controlled wealth for 300 years. Compound interest. Let time and mathematics work for you. Leverage. Use other people's resources to amplify results. Time, money. Build systems and assets, not just income. Multiple streams. Never depend on a single source. Knowledge equals capital. Invest in skills that appreciate calculated risk. Be bold but strategic. Patience. Think in decades, not days. These laws don't work because they're new or trendy. They work because they're timeless. They worked in 1720. They work in 2025. They'll work in 2100. The economy will change. Technology will evolve. But human nature and mathematical principles, those are constants. Now here's the real question. What are you going to do with this information? Because knowing isn't enough. Knowledge without action is worthless. You have 2 paths ahead of you. Path 1, close this video, go back to your regular life, change nothing, and wonder in 10 years why you're still struggling financially. Path 2, choose one law from this video, just one, and implement it this week. Not next month when you have more money. Not next year when you're less busy. This week. If you choose compound interest, open an investment account today and set up automatic $100 monthly transfers. If you choose multiple income streams, spend this weekend brainstorming and launching one small side hustle. If you choose knowledge capital, buy one course or book in a high-value skill and commit 30 minutes daily to learning it. If you choose patience, write down your 10-year financial vision and reverse engineer the steps to get there. One law, one action. This week, do that, and I promise you, your life in 5 years will be unrecognizable. Leave a comment right now telling me which law you're going to implement. I read every single comment and I respond to as many as I can. And if you want more content about building real wealth, about the strategies the wealthy use that nobody teaches you, about breaking free from the matrix of the modern financial system, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next video might be even more important than this one. I'm going to reveal how the tax system is specifically designed to keep employees poor, while business owners and investors get rich, and the legal strategies they use to pay almost nothing in taxes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being someone who seeks knowledge instead of excuses. Remember, you're not going to get rich overnight, but you can start getting rich today. See you in the next video.